The work needs doing. So it would be probably something like it's a 4-step process. Okay. The work needs doing. This would be a 4-step process that I've created. Right, it'll explain 4 core values that I believe you must have to achieve anything of any real importance in this world. And I think that without these values, you can't achieve anything truly great. You can't achieve anything truly meaningful, no matter if that's being an athlete or an entrepreneur, a family man, no matter what it is, you name it. If you don't have these 4 qualities, you cannot achieve anything of real importance. I'm going to suggest that you always keep a notebook and a pen with you to write things down. It's only going to be one, part of a very long series. So, but not just for now. I'd suggest anyone, as a life skill to get in the habit of having a notebook with you at all times and having a pen and being able to write things down, because you won't always remember everything that you hear, right? But you can always go back, to that notebook and be able to learn. So, get that now if you don't have one. First step, consistency. I've always said personally, and I've always heard, anybody who has achieved any kind of, real success in anything, that consistency is absolutely, it's pivotal. There's so much value in just showing up. Showing up, in all honesty, is probably 50 to 60% of the battle. As time passes, it's difficult to show up every single day. But if you can be, relentlessly consistent, man, you've already surpassed, probably 60, 65, maybe even 75% of your competitors, because most people just are not willing to do that. So be relentlessly consistent. There's no substitute for it. Second step is going to be perseverance. Being consistent is a large portion of it, but there will be hard times. There have been hard times in my life, and I haven't really done much yet, and I've nowhere near climbed the heights that I want to. But there will be hard times. I can promise you that. In those times, it is very important to remember, your why. It's important to remember why you do things, and it's important to push through, right? I've always said, it's in the hard times where you grow, right? It's in the rain, where you, in all honesty, where you decide, how far you can take it and how far you can do things, right? I'll even tell a quick story. I remember, so I got saved when I was in my second 6th grade year, and it was my first year at Victory Christian Academy. Within the next following years, I would just continue to grow in my faith. But I remember specifically my freshman year, I wanted to work on my anger. Not that I was an angry person by any means. I just remember that I was reading my Bible and I read a verse about it. And I remember there was a time, in my freshman year that I really wanted to attack it. And so that's what I did, right? I attacked it, right, over the next couple months. And what I found was, the more and more I read and the more and more I researched and the more and more I asked mentors and I asked questions, right, I would learn more and more about, about being angry. About the theory surrounding it. But I found out that I couldn't really work on it in practice until I felt anger, right? And so, unbeknownst to me at the time, fancy way of saying, I didn't know it at the time, but what I was learning was that it's in the hard times and it's in the trial and tribulations where you get an opportunity to grow, right? So when I felt angry, that's when I began to realize that it's possible for me to decide to choose to do other things in spite of how I felt. And so that principle is applicable to, you can apply it to anything in life. Gotta learn to persevere. It's pivotal. It's gonna be hard times. You gotta work your way through it. Gotta get up. You gotta pick yourself up. Third step, it's gonna be work ethic. Okay, I'll tell you this. You can be consistent. You can even persevere through things. Okay, but if your work ethic is subpar, man, right? I'll give an example, right? Let's say I've never played basketball. Let's say baseball. I've never played baseball before. You never played baseball either, right? Me and you, we both started at the same time. Right now, we both want to specialize in hitting. Right, I don't really know much about baseball, to be completely honest, but we both want to specialize in hitting. Now, every single day, I go to the batting cages and I hit 400 balls, right? And every single day you go to the batting cages and you hit 200 balls. Right now we're both being consistent, right? Or I'm sorry, let me add more to the situation. Now we do this for up to 6 months, right? We do this for up to 6 months, right? Let's say we're both consistent and we both persevere, right? We get up on the days that we don't feel like it, right? I'm hitting 400, you're hitting 200. In 6 months, there will be no comparison between me and you, right? Because on average, I'm hitting 200, balls more than you in a day, right? So I mean, just doing some quick maths. Let's just say there's 30 days in each month that we do. 60 days, 60 times 200 is, 12,000. I believe 60 times 200 is 12,000. And so in 6 months, I've hit 12,000 balls more than you have just because I'm working harder. There's no comparison. There won't be any comparison, right? So you got to be able to work hard. You got to be able to do that on a consistent basis. And you got to be able to do it when you don't feel like it. And number 4, right, is going to be your ability to reset. Okay, working hard is valuable. Being able to persevere is valuable. And, being consistent is also valuable, but you don't want to burn yourself out. All right, like there's great value in taking your recess. There's great value in allowing yourself to pause, appreciate the things that you've done, reevaluate what you need to continue to do, and, the places that you need to continue to go. And, give yourself to, whether it's physically, mentally, or spiritually, if not a combination of all 3, or a combination of any 2 of them, there's value in allowing yourself to rest and creating space for that. I'll tell a very, very quick story. I remember I was talking to, I guess a couple days ago, I'm talking to one of my brothers, and, and he was explaining, that, right, like over time, your output, how valuable your output is, it can change. Right, so, right, if I'm giving 100% of my output right now, right, and let's say I don't sleep, right, like I'm not sleeping much, I might sleep 2, 3, 4 hours a day. Personally, for me, I can still function like that. All right, some people can't as well. He was actually going on and on about how there's been scientific studies about that, how some people genuinely just require less sleep. And I won't get into all of that. But what I will say is, even for me, if I was sleeping, 2, 3, 4 hours a day, right? If I'm doing this for 2 to 3 weeks on end, a month and a half, 2 months on end, right? If I'm working like that and that's consistent, right? 100% of my output, at the end of that won't be equal to 100% of my output right now, right? Like 100% that I put in might equal 200% of productivity right now, right? But due to fatigue and just not allowing myself to rest, right? A month and a half in, with that sleeping schedule, 100% of my output might equal 100% of productivity, right? That's not comparative, right? And that might not seem as important, but when you put that principle into important things in your life, right? Like when you're a family man, right? You're a husband, you have children, right? You're giving so much to your work and you're not taking care of your rest, right? You can't give as much to your family, right? Or you're giving so much to your family and you're not taking care of your rest, you can't give as much to work. Right, or whether it's to your friends, right, or even extended family, like whatever the case may be, right. If you're not taking care of your rest and you're not allowing yourself to reset, right, over time it is very, very detrimental. You got to be able to rest and you got to prioritize that. I'll give you guys a bonus. Like I said before, I give you guys a bonus. Number 5, and I personally think, okay, I don't want to speak as someone who knows everything because I don't, but I really do personally believe that this is the key to achieving great success, but also achieving great success quicker, right? Everyone always says, like things take time and they take time. You gotta be patient, and there is great value in that. You gotta be patient. Things do take time, but I do believe that you can supercharge things with an extreme addition of all 4 of those things plus this bonus, right? The bonus being the capability to learn theory. Okay, and I want to elaborate a little bit. What I mean by that is putting yourself in a position to where you can learn more a lot quicker. I think fundamentally, people don't always understand why things take time. Things take time because it takes time to experience things, right? Let's say today I wanted to be a welder. Let's say today I decided I'm going to be a welder. Okay, so I go out and I get 5 years of welding experience. The learning curve is 5 years to learn, whatever I would learn. Or I could spend, I mean, whether it's through like you already have, you know, a friend, or whether it's, you know, through you're gonna spend money. I mean, let's say I'm gonna spend money, and I could pay someone who's been welding for 30 years. I pay him or her for their time, right? And they'll give me liquid gold, right, for 30 years worth of experience, and I can learn the theory on that. Now, with that being said, that's not as valuable as having hands-on practice, but that you do get to a certain point to where your theory can match up, and even in some cases outweigh the experience that somebody else has had. Like if I get liquid gold from this person that's had 30 years of experience welding, right? And I really saturate myself, and I take my notes, and I'm studying, and I really saturate myself in that 30 years of knowledge. I mean, I think that there's a strong debate for, you know, me in comparison to someone who's had maybe five years of experience welding or 2 years of experience welding. Because although I haven't made all the mistakes that this person that's been doing it for 2 years or 5 years has done, I didn't have to go through the mistakes time wise. I learned the mistakes in theory. With that being said, there isn't, you know, just one way to learn theory. You don't have to pay somebody large amounts of money, you know, for their experience. I think a very good way, in a way that we've been, in a way that we've been doing ourselves, is reading. Man, I've been, for the past few years, I can't believe I haven't been reading more as much as I'm reading now. It's unbelievable. I mean, these people who've had so much success, right? Whether it's through sports, you know, whether it's through entrepreneurship, whether it's doctors or lawyers, except no matter what it is, people who have had great success, right, take time and they tell you about their experiences and the mistakes they made and the successes that they have, right, the things that have worked for them and the things that haven't. And it's like, I don't know, $15, $25, $40. Heck, I don't care if the book was $150, $200. It's so incredibly valuable. And we're talking about anything you want to be. Like, again, I'll go back. Books about being a family man. Books about being an athlete. Books about being an entrepreneur. Right? Books about getting smarter. Books about being a public speaker. No matter what it is. And then on top of that, not only do you have the privilege of being able to get knowledge from the greatest and the most successful people on the planet, or person on the planet, you can get it from multiple people. It's mind blowing, right? A book I read not too long ago is, 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Is well renowned. I liked it. Was fine. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he had in it, right? And so like I think the cool thing about the books are, like, I can take what Robert Greene said. I can take it at face value. I can listen to everything without any judgment, and I can just derive the things that I do like and throw away everything else that I don't. And I can go listen to 10 other authors or read 10 other authors and do the exact same thing and get everything that I'm looking for, and not spend 30 years of my own time to get it. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think that that's partially what partially what just supercharges innovation throughout time. I mean, you got to think we're exploring the solar system now. I mean, 250 years ago, I don't even think cars existed yet. I mean, so I think doing all four of those things while being able, right, and putting yourself in a position to be able to learn theory, right, that way you can trade knowledge you can trade the knowledge that you would have got, by giving your time. You can get that knowledge in theory, or just supercharge whatever your goal is, and you can do it a lot quicker than maybe you ever thought you could, and anyone else ever thought you could. And I believe in you, so.